was the first ransom note written by a man? I'm going to look for the letter in Lenormand so we can decipher, well, try to decipher if it was by a man or a woman. Okay? So I was one of the many replay viewers to the interview room's last live. Might not have been the last one by the time you see this video, but it's the one where they did forensics on the ransom note. Dr. Brucato came on 2/3 of the way in, and he said he believes the first note was written by a man and the second note was written by an emotional woman. I think he has been saying that since we got wind of the second note, and the second note is the one that says she's buried in nature, okay? Just so we don't get confused. Okay. This is somebody, the first note, somebody with a childlike energy, right? And this is about abundance. We're gonna look that up. 34. And it says, wealth, money, independence. Somebody rich? But then why would they need Bitcoin, right? The note, they had contracts and agreements, or they were married, right? And then this is somebody loyal. So does that tell us if it was written by a man? Let's pull some tarot to see if we get something different. Sometimes it's kind of hard to decipher some of the questions. Maybe I ask it wrong, I don't know. I watched that video, that live, 2 different times and took down some notes. I'm gonna tell you after I read these cards right here for this first question what Dr. Gary said. So this is what we don't see coming. So strength, courage, patience, inner power. 9 of Pentacles, self-sufficiency, luxury. I mean, everything is kind of saying this person had money. 9 of Cups, fulfillment, satisfaction, gratitude, luxury. Cups are about emotions. Emotionally, they were set. 5 of Cups, this is loss, grief, regret, mourning, sorrow. Did that person lose somebody? The Chariot, ambition, victory, willpower, movement. So did this person lose somebody? What we don't see come in the 3 of Cups. Celebration, friendship, community. And so they wanted to like grab Miss Nancy to like get back their grandma or something that they lost. I'm trying to look at all theories because I'm so down a different turnpike about this thing that I don't want to get locked in to one specific theory, right? I want to leave my mind open. So I don't know that it says it was a man, but I'm shocked that it's telling me that it's somebody who had abundance, happy in their lives, in their relationships, and happy with money. Okay, that's different. Now Dr. Brucato believes that he's the one that has that theory about the chef and the waiter. The AC just came on. The chef, the waiter, and the busboy. Like he's, you know, I don't like when people do these analogies that I know nothing about. But I guess I should be grateful that it's not a sports analogy because I would be lost. So maybe I can understand a restaurant analogy. The chef would be like the boss, the smarter one, right? The waiter would be the second level. What's going on in my alley? And the busboy would be the lower level. So he's thinking that the first note writer is the chef, I guess. The second one is the waiter. And the third one is the busboy. I don't know what all of that means. But I'm glad that he is thinking there's more than one. Because if you see my list here, I have 12 people on this list. The ones that I feel more strongly about, I put a little asterisk next to it. The ones that I feel like tepid about, I put a check mark. And the ones where I'm not sure at all, I put a question mark. All right? Maybe I'll share it with you guys towards the end of this video, because it's totally just my opinion and the way my brain is going, and I don't know that any of these people are involved. It could be none of them are involved, okay? Because remember, tarot, Lenormand, and oracle cards are for entertainment purposes only. So we're gonna pull Lenormand again to ask if the second note writer was a woman. So what's the answer to the first one? What's the answer to the first one? The answer is undetermined. It's undetermined. I don't know that it was a guy or a girl, but it seems like it's somebody who had money. We're looking for the woman. And she came in the middle like we wanted her to. Okay, and look, the ransom note came up, don't you know? So I'm gonna say, just because the note came up at the end of the sentence, I'm gonna say yes, the second one was a woman. Pain and suffering. Did this person want to inflict pain and suffering on the family, or specifically Savannah? Because that's my daughter's first theory 5 months ago. She was like, it's the sister that lives in Tucson, because she was jealous of the sister in New York and she wanted to hurt her. She's since come off of that theory. Okay, so that's how theories work. You latch on to one, and when more evidence come out, you change your mind, so that you're not falsely accusing anybody. I wouldn't want to do that, you know. Delays, blockage. There's a blockage. The woman, the establishment, law enforcement, the courts, the jail, church, religion, anything, traditions, anything that you're tied to. And it seems like Savannah and her mom were tied to the Christian faith, while Annie was tied to Wiccan. Doesn't mean anything to me. Unless they say she was in Illuminati, then I'm gonna side-eye her. You know, it's just a different belief system. Not everybody has to be Christian, you know. And then the ransom note. I'm not gonna pull tarot on this. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say a good 95% yes that the second note writer was a woman. That's according to Dr. Gary. At this point, I want to drop a video in that I did. I think I was going to put it out as a shorts, but instead I'm just going to include it in this video. And I believe the question that I asked was, point blank period, is Miss Nancy still alive? Let's watch that. So I haven't asked this question in quite some time, but I'm just going to come out right and ask it today. I don't know the date, but I know it's Thursday, July, either the 23rd or the 24th. I just don't remember if yesterday was the 22nd or not. So, and this is 2026. So 5 cards, and we're gonna ask, is Miss Nancy still alive? All right, point blank, is she still alive? 5 cards. This is tarot, and this is my own deck, so it's a food themed deck. This is what I don't see coming, or what they don't see coming. And the first card is the Ace of Wands. Aces usually mean yes, but that doesn't tell us the whole picture. Inspiration, opportunities, growth, right? Have you noticed that ever since Miss Nancy went missing, a lot of YouTubers have channels now? This channel was made before Miss Nancy went missing. I made it last September, but I started to read on her because I thought the case was going to be resolved pretty quickly. Page is about bringing messages, young energy, and I guess we have to be patient to find out the answer to this. The 6 of Cups, this is about nostalgia. I always think about Miss Nancy's 3 children when I see this, because I feel like she reminisces a lot going back to their younger years, even before the dad passed away. So that's about nostalgia and going back into the past. New beginnings, leap of faith, new journey. This is a really good card for me, but it could also mean a new journey on the other side. You know, we have to like think on both sides. And we got another ace. Another ace. And then what we don't see coming is the 5 of Swords, that people are fighting, conflict, defeat, dishonor, competition. This doesn't say unalive, right? It doesn't say unalive. But let's pull clarifiers on the 5 of Swords. We're going to pull 3 Lenormand, which is just a different system, 36 cards. And let me cut it. I don't always cut the deck, but sometimes I do. And remember, this is my opinion. And tarot, Lenormand, and oracle cards are for entertainment purposes only. I have to make a banner for my shorts now. The first card we got to clarify is the woman. Hello, Miss Nancy. And then the second card is the scythe, which is cutting away at something really fast. It could mean surgery too. Let's see. Removal, harvest, surgery, quick ends. That could mean unalive, right? And then the whip is about pain and suffering. Well, she's suffering a lot of pain. Still didn't come up with the coffin. So we're gonna say, let's give it a percentage. I'm gonna say 85% chance that Miss Nancy is still alive. That's what me personally is gonna go with, okay? All right, guys, see you on the next one. So because I was gonna do it as a shorts, the video is in the profile orientation. So I haven't asked that question in a while, so that's why I wanted to ask it again. And again, no definitive death cards, but some of the cards in there you could squint your eye and go, maybe. You know, I'm not 100% sure that Miss Nancy is alive, but I really do believe that she is alive. Or maybe I hope that she is alive, right? So the next question, did Miss Nancy know her abductor? Let's pull. I'm gonna do a Celtic cross. We haven't done one of those in a while. 10 cards. 10 cards. Did Miss Nancy know her abductor? And I'm gonna say abductor for this one because I don't believe Miss Nancy was truly kidnapped in the traditional way of kidnapping. You know what I mean? Like, kidnapper comes in, they want money, they're gonna grab your loved one, they're gonna leave a note with cutout letters, right? Maybe I watched too many movies. We have your mom, give us this money, do not go to law enforcement. That's what they usually say, right? In the movies. So the first one is the signifying card. I'm gonna try to put it as low as I can so you guys don't miss anything. The next one goes on its side because that's the challenge. The next one goes underneath because that's the foundation that the read stands on. The next one goes towards my left because that's in the past. The next one goes above because that's the overarching energy of the read. The next one goes in front opposite the past because it's the immediate future. And then internally, what's going on? Externally, no, that guy back there, the politician, is building a pool. Hopes and fears, the outcome, and then hidden influence. I think I showed the hidden influence on the last one, right? So let's pull the first card. 9 of Cups, fulfillment, satisfaction, gratitude, luxury. Miss Nancy was doing all right with money. I don't know that she was loaded. The astrologer, the lady that's an astrologer that's a viewer in my thing said she had money, that the husband had a good life insurance and that she, you know, didn't squander it. And I kind of wonder if she's telling, I kind of wonder if she's not right. I don't think she's lying. I kind of wonder if she's not right because I was watching the interview again last night, Savannah's interview with Hoda. Alex was playing it, Alex at Criminal Network, and they were dissecting it, right? And she talked about her mom just going back to work like part-time after the dad passed away. It's like, how can a single mom with 3 kids work only part-time after they lose their partner who was the provider? And then that part-time job became a full-time job. So I'm like, maybe there was an insurance, right? Insurance policy. They do have them for the miners, right? And people who work down in the coal mines. I would say coal mines. 5 of Pentacles, poverty, hardship, financial loss. Oh, I'm talking about, well, that was the challenge. So she had money and then she was losing some money. Why? The foundation that it stands on is the star. This is about hope, healing, guidance, and inspiration. She wasn't, oh, I'm in so much pain, please take me and put me out of my misery. That wasn't, like my daughter brought that up, right? I don't think that was the case with Miss Nancy. Did they stop their noise over there? The Emperor is in the past. That's the sheriff. Remember, we gave the sheriff this card. It could also be Miss Nancy's husband is in the past, right? 3 of Pentacles, teamwork, collaboration, mastery, skill. At least 3 people. The chef, the waiter, and the busboy, right? King of Swords, authority, discipline, truthful, reliable. Cameron, maybe? Page of Cups, playful, imaginative, curious, dreamer. I think I'm going to go inside for the next part of the read, okay? Just bear with me a little while longer. 7 of Cups, many choices, illusions, fantasy. Is this saying if Miss Nancy knew her abductor? 7 of Pentacles, patience, investment, growth, harvest. Oh, I have to go inside, guys. This is gonna... And then here comes Savannah in the read. I gave this to her because she can speak, right? She's a broadcaster. And here comes Tommaso, hidden underneath it all. Okay, let's pack it up and go inside because that's too loud. I'm sorry about all that noise outside just now, guys, but I'm not going to throw away that footage. I'm going to leave it in the video because you saw the cards that I got. Now, we don't have any way of knowing if Savannah and Tommaso were there when this Nancy got abducted. I swear over my mouth. But you guys know I gave her the Queen of Swords a long time ago, and I gave Tommaso the Knight of Cups, and they both showed up in the read. What does it mean? I guess the placement where they showed up matters too, right? So what does it mean? So I want to go through the ransom note. This is the ending of the video where I could do my jibber jabber, right? My yammering. So well, first of all, Chris and John Lamb is the one that's the author. I want to buy his books. I like the name of his books. What, Bring Out Your Dead, Bedlam's Betty or something. I don't remember the names, but I'm going to buy his books and read them. So the first ransom note says, "Hello, Savannah." Remember, I thought it was "Hello, Clarice. We have your mother, Nancy." So Monk's Intrigue was the first one I saw that said, why name the mom? Why put the mom's name in there? Everybody know that it's Nancy. That's so weird for him to say, "We have your mother, Nancy." You know, in case Savannah forget the name of her mom, right? My daughter Jada had pointed that out too. So then Dr. Brucato and Chris and John all pointed that out, like why put the mom's name in there, right? And then she is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. They took issue with the "she will be held for ransom." Why in the future tense? John, the writer, says why will in the future tense? Why not is? She is. I'm holding her for ransom. First of all, a ransom note is never this long. This is the first. I had to split it because of the way the girl presented the thing. And I take issue with her too, Brianna Whitney. Why did you hold on to this for so long? And then the way she rolled it out, she didn't just like post it there. That she's reading it then. I don't know if she posted somewhere on X. I don't go on X. But I take a little bit of issue with her too, right? So the next part, I don't think I take any issue with the "she will be held for ransom," because I do feel like it's somebody who's using AI to write this, right, to help them write it. And that might be because they're not native English speakers, or it could be they're just trying to disguise who they are. You know, when we had a stalker, I don't know who the stalker was for, if it was for me or my daughter, because by then I was building out my cooking page, right? The person, when they brought an owl first, like a maybe like a trinket box type thing, because you could take the head off and store things inside the owl. And then the next thing they brought was a little, you know those notebooks that you have with the ring on the top? They tore a page out of that and they drew the owl, but they drew it like just sticks. They didn't draw it with curvatures and circles, and like they didn't want us to pick up on their art style or something. So it could have been for me, could have been for my daughter. She was having some issues with a friend at the time, so we don't know, but we just know that they disguise the way they drew. So we'll be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. We asked that in the last one, why 7 days? My daughter felt it sounded like something from that movie, The Ring, right? Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. Well, I think she was. I think she was dropped off to a semi-safe location in Tucson, in the desert in Rio Rico. Who lives in Rio Rico? Carlos? I'm not saying he had her. I'm just saying coinkydink, right? I'm saying she was dropped off because I believe she was the lady in the helicopter. You guys know that I haven't hidden that, right? That's how I feel. If the payment is not received by the last deadline of Monday, they did a layaway type, you know, ransom demand. One was due that Thursday the 5th for $4 million, and if not, you have till Monday to pay, but now you have interest tacked on. This is what I'm saying. And now it's $6 million by Monday the 9th. And then the sheriff spoke on the 5th in an interview or a press conference and said, drop her off at a safe location. no questions asked. I always thought that was him, even when I didn't think he was involved. Because when they showed the picture of the perp without the pew-pew and the backpack, and they showed the sheriff next to it, I kind of chuckled and laughed it off, even though I thought it looked so similar, right? They look so close in body type and the way they held their hands and stuff. But I'm like, nah, the sheriff is just, corrupt and dumb at the same time. He didn't have anything to do with this, right? I was giving him a pass. I really was giving him a pass. So, but when he did that interview and said, drop her off, no questions asked. At first, I wasn't alarmed. I was just happy that he said that, because that meant he still thought she was alive, because that was day 5 and Savannah and them were already writing her off. Pretty much. They weren't looking. Everybody stopped looking on day 2. I'd like to see any of my loved ones go missing, even extended loved ones, not just the people that are in my inner circle, and I wouldn't be part of a search crew. I feel sorry for the guys that are searching. Like, I saw Juice last night out there with these meth heads and crack heads and stuff, handing out flyers about Miss Nancy. One of them was ODing. He had to jump in and help do chest compressions with somebody else. Bless his heart. God will bless you richly for your caring, Juice. I can't. I wouldn't be searching for Miss Nancy, because I don't think she's lost. I think they have her. You guys know that I keep telling you that, right? Okay, your life is in her hands. Okay, your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Of course, Dr. Brucato and them took issue with that. It's like, well, why don't you want to have contact? And why take this to the media? Most of the time, kidnappers will say, don't go to the news, don't go to the police, or else you know what's going to happen. So this rules out the mob from Mexico, cartel. This rules out cartel for me. Completely, 100% rules out cartel, because they're not going to tell you, send it to no damn news. They don't want the news to know what they're doing, right? And then they talked about the smartwatch being on the floor by the foot of the bed and the floodlight broken in the back. I feel like that was something, the floodlight thing was public, because I vaguely remember Ashley Banfield saying something about the floodlight and that the camera was gone. The Nest camera was gone. They could have known that from her if that was out there publicly already. But even if none of that was out there publicly, they could have known, because of the fact that I feel like the kidnappers did write the note, but they did it as a diversion to try to get the heat off of somebody. Get the heat off of the chef. Okay? Get the heat off of the chef. So, first note man, second note woman. I was taking notes. Dr. Brucato thinks the porch perp is a hired hand. And if he's right, then could it be that guy Leo? I don't want to throw him in the mix, because I don't know who he is. I don't know if he was in America. But I'm still watching Patriot Pride unravel that cord. Okay? So, where was Savannah when the lights went out? Where was Savannah? Was she in New York? I don't know that Tara will tell you location. Was she in New York? Was she in Arizona? And thank you for staying long enough to listen to my jibber jabber. Because I am a storyteller and I want to share my thoughts with you. But I do understand the people who are here for just the card readings, and they don't want to hear all of that palabra. But these people say that, and that was in the Dalmatians movie, remember? What we don't see coming. I don't know what cards are going to come up, guys. What we don't see coming. Ooh, ooh, my little desk is going to fall apart. My husband said he would build me a taller table so you guys can see the cards, but I don't know. We've cut these tables down. They used to be taller. We've cut them down to muscle. Tommy. And we gave Leo the King of Swords, remember? Because he cooks. 2 of Swords, indecision, stalemate, avoidance. I don't like the part where she says, we were running through the desert holding hands because they were closing in on us. That she said that in an interview. I'm like, who? Not the streamers. JLR knew where they were, but he didn't go there. And everybody else assumed they were at Annie's. Where else would she be? Right? 4 of Pentacles. This is about hoarding, frugality, greed. 9 of Cups, fulfillment. This came up earlier in the read, right? The High Priestess, intuition, mystery, inner wisdom, secrets. They definitely have a bunch of secrets. And then the Moon, another illusion, intuition, mystery, premonition. This doesn't say definitively where she was. This doesn't say where she was, but it does say that Tommaso was there. Just saying. These cards are for entertainment purposes only.